Hello, everyone. This is Kim, and I have an important and interesting story to share with you. So this is sort of continuing my vlog and adventures about Fables Den, about business, about my purpose, about finding a lane, about finding a word, etc. So just to recap, in my last video, I talked about finding my word, and I talked about feeling more aligned and feeling more clarity when it comes to my purpose and what I want to do in life. And I, like just reflecting on all the vlogs that I did about this topic, feeling kind of out of sorts, out of place, not really sure what my lane is, not really sure what my word is, don't really know how I am positioned in this tarot community, what my main message is, what my main thing is. And interesting, I kind of just I this is a made up term, by the way, but I kind of describe this phenomenon, or I kind of describe this experience as purpose dysphoria. I know it's a term attributed to, maybe I shouldn't use that word lightly, but it just kind of, I realized that's how I've been feeling because I could never figure out what's the exact picture and what's the exact lane that I want to walk down on, how do I want to be known in the world, etc. And in the last video, I talked about finding my word, which is champion. Still true. All those insights are still true. But I think I just reached a point, like a really important realization. Okay, so backtrack this about a year ago, probably just over a year ago. I thought about, at the time, doing a separate YouTube channel about leveling up life and something that's not tarot, something that's more like lifestyle and vlog oriented, something that's more about spirituality and personal development, but not in the context of tarot. But at the time, the idea was very vague. I didn't really have a clear vision for it, and I didn't want to be overwhelmed by all the extra work of having a second online business because Fables Den at the time was just occupying all of my time. So I actually registered a domain. I actually kind of, started holding spaces for this idea. I kind of, got some social media accounts started, but I never really looked into it because I just thought at the time it wasn't really a viable option. It wasn't really a viable path. It didn't occur to me that it could be something real. But I think that was the beginning of something new. That was the beginning of something new, a new, like, that I didn't really know that I was going to, like, it was an adventure in the making that I didn't know that I was going to embark on, which is very interesting because I've always visualized my life rather clearly. I wanted to know where I'm going. I wanted to have this sense of purpose. I want to be very driven about the things that I do. And over the course of just the past year, I realized a lot of things. I realized I'm a pretty ambitious person. I'm really growth based. I'm really aggressive when it comes to growing. I really want to make something of myself. I really want to be self-made. I really want to be successful in my creative endeavors. Not conventionally successful, I should stress that, but conventional in the context of what is my highest purpose and what is my highest alignment, blah blah blah, etc. Anyway, so I kind of realized that, like, okay, so after launching the Kickstarter, after doing We Have the Panda Tarot, after the production, after it's funded, after I got into the production, and after, really processing that whole experience, it it occurred to me that I have a lot of things that I want to say about the world. And I think I've always wanted, and I've always tried to do that in the context of Fables Den. And even though, okay, a big part of what I do when it comes to tarot is spirituality and personal development and leveling up. So all of that is integral, all of that is organically who I am. But I think I came to realize that that channel wasn't right. I think I struggled to try to put everything together. Am I an artist? Am I, I like to draw cute tarot doodles. I like to draw comics, and I like to create tarot study resources. I like to teach. Am I a teacher? Am I just a card slinger? Am I like a spiritual figure? Right? Like, if you've been watching my vlogs, like, you kind of caught on with all that struggle, that sense of dysphoria. Like, I just really not knowing where to belong, not knowing which path is will really satisfy me, not knowing which one is my true identity. Like deep down, I know all the things that I want to create and all the things I wanted to put into this world, all the things that I knew about myself. I knew those were all true. Like those were the things I wanted to do. That was who I am. But it just, I guess I didn't really know how to package it. I didn't really know how to express it. I think it occurred to me that it didn't completely, I never felt I belonged in one lane, or that I never, it was, how do I sort of synthesize this into like this big Fables Den umbrella? I could never synthesize it. I could never put everything together. I think it's because they were never meant to be together. Some stuff was not meant to be Fables Den. Some stuff was meant to be something else, which is what I'm going to talk about right now. And sorry, this story is kind of like chaotic, but all this backstory has brought me to this point, this kind of little announcement. It's not like a major announcement, it's just, well, it's an announcement of what I'm going to do. I'm going to start a YouTube channel, and I think I want to be a YouTuber. I want to start a YouTube channel, and not just like an online business with a YouTube channel. Like I actually want to start a YouTube channel, and be a YouTube content creator. And I want to call it The Way of the Panda. It has nothing to do with the deck, it has nothing to do with tarot, but it has everything to do with personal development, leveling up, but outside of the context of tarot. And I know that the way I approach tarot is very much intrinsically linked to all those things anyway, but I just feel like I have a lot to say about personal development and leveling up in life, and especially feeling confident, navigating your personality, being self-aware, practicing mindfulness, and also feeling confident. I don't know if I said that already, but feeling confident. Oh, okay, what I didn't say was navigating this world as an introverted person. So I have a lot of things I want to say, and I kind of feel like a lot of people would benefit from what I could say. Maybe they, and I think sometimes they're not real, they don't necessarily exist in the sphere of tarot. So, so I decided to start a second, well, not a second, I decided to start a separate YouTube channel, and I made a decision in my head to become a YouTuber. It's not something I'm doing right now. It's not something I'm doing this year, but I want to prepare to launch my channel maybe by January or February, and it's something that I wanted to start, but maybe not go like full force, and it might even be delayed because I'm in the process of working on the second deck, and it's going to be my original art. If you've been following me on Instagram, you know what that is. Temporary name right now is the Light Heart Tarot, and it's going to be featuring my own art. So I'm working on that. I'm also working on the Letterman deck. So there's a lot of creative stuff to be done, but so yeah, so I'm not sure if it's actually going to launch in January, but I do want to take steps towards preparing to launch it. So back to all the backstory that I was telling you. As soon as I made this decision, that sense of dysphoria is gone. Like I don't struggle with how to put everything under the same umbrella anymore. I don't struggle with, is this the right content for this vein, or is this the lane that I'm on, or is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Like I think it's become clear that Fables Den is Fables Den, and Way of the Panda is going to be Way of the Panda. And Way of the Panda is just such a good metaphor and such a good animal totem for practicing a life that's creative, that's peaceful, that's kind of introverted, and also very introspective, very playful. Everything that I believe in, right? Sort of encapsulated by the panda as a totem animal. So anyway, and after I really distinguished that in my head, after I really made a decision, okay, I'm gonna do Fables Den, and that's a big part of me, but I'm also going to pursue Way of the Panda. And everything just became so clear that dysphoria was gone. It was just like, I've been waiting for this moment to come out. I know this is not the same experience as actually coming out, but that's, it's just like, you unearth this part of your identity. You kind of unearth this part of you, this vision, this thing that you've always known somehow that you're going to be doing. Because I think as far as I can recall, I'd just been imagining myself making YouTube videos, talking to the camera talking to people about feeling confident, sharing my opinions about, issues like culture and gender and race and personal fitness and lifestyle and food, all kinds of things that you might want to discuss when it comes to leveling up your life as a whole, right? So for the longest time, I've been imagining myself doing that. I think never thought much of it until recently. I think I realized that all those sort of screensaver, all those daydreaming imaginings of me doing YouTube, I think that's an actual calling. I think that's actually a sign telling me that's this desire or this inspiration and aspiration to do YouTube. And yeah, it's like so I decided to do YouTube, and it's going to be very awesome. And I think, and something interesting that happened was ever since I made the decision to pursue YouTube. Still haven't done anything yet other than register the domain. I actually had the domain since last year. And some bastard had the Way of the Panda Google accounts. I can't register a YouTube channel under that email. So it's like a bummer. But it's not too bad because I have the Instagram account and I have the domain. So stuck on that. Yeah, anyway, so ever since I made that decision, everything became so clear. Like an interesting sort of side effect or like a side bonus, I guess, like was a lot of things that I didn't want to try for Fables Den. Like for example, um, things like pick a card readings or posting readings on my Instagram or, the typical tarot-y things that people do with their tarot online business. For the longest time, I just feel like I don't want to do that because that doesn't really fit with my bigger vision. But at the time, I didn't really know that bigger vision contained another big vision, and it was kind of jumbled together. I think that's why, like Fables Den was too small for two things to exist at once, and that's why like a lot of times I felt really chaotic and I feel really confused and I feel really disconnected and just not really understanding why I'm feeling this way, because I just feel like I've always been pretty self-aware, like creatively especially, and also just spiritually. And well, I guess there all comes a time when we have realizations for ourselves. So I can't really say that I'm always like clear on what I want to do, but there's generally a sense that okay, this is what I'm pursuing right now. And there's like usually I get through things pretty fast, and I guess what I'm trying to say is like this epiphany is kind of new. It's like a new vein. Like, usually it's stuff you realize about yourself is kind of like a spiral. It's sort of like old lessons renewed, or you have a new perspective on things, that kind of stuff. So it's sort of like related to what you've been working on in the past. But this one, I guess it's like a long time coming, but it's an interesting, different experience because I never thought to myself, I never thought that I was going to be a YouTuber. I started doing Fables on YouTube was because it was just something nice to have on the side. I started on, I had Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I just thought, okay, all the car slingers, online business owners that I know, they have a YouTube channel. That's how they reach people. That's how they connect with people. So I should have a YouTube channel as well. But what I came to discover with Fables Den, especially, is my main sort of platform is on Instagram, because Instagram's very visually oriented, especially now that I'm a decorator, now that I draw a lot and I post a lot of tarot spreads. Instagram is perfect. And for engagement and also just for sharing the stuff that I've created and also for showcasing the stuff that I've created, Instagram is perfect. So YouTube kind of became really secondary. Like, I think recently I've just been using YouTube as like a vlog or a place where I can vlog longer because, I'm not like famous enough on Instagram yet, or I don't have enough followers for me to post long ass videos. Right now I can only post like 10 minutes on IGTV, which is not very long when this video is already like almost 15 minutes. So yeah. So something interesting is happening is like after I made that decision, it just gave me so much peace, and it gave me so much awareness and understanding. And then it gave me the sense of quiet purpose, because I've always felt I always felt purposeful but I just never really made peace with the fact that there's always this little itching, nagging feeling that something isn't quite fitting together. Like, I've always felt like a misfit. A little, just like it's not like very strong feeling because it's not like I didn't belong or it's not like I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. I was doing everything that I was supposed to be doing. Everything was on time. I totally believe that, I have no regrets and I think it wouldn't have happened any other way. I wouldn't have it any other way. But this is kind of new. Like I have just this new sense of peace knowing that that's what that was. That's why I was feeling so disjointed and just so confused. It was because Fables Den was meant for a lot of things that are coming to right now, such as me being a decorator, me drawing tarot related stuff, and um, me just creating the lens of tarot and helping people learn tarot. And then I'm going to have the way of the panda, which is kind of like like a byproduct, or it's not a byproduct. It's like a new identity that was able to be born because I made the deck. And after I made the deck, after I wrote the guidebook, the little guidebook in there, also the big book of pandas, I really just really encapsulated everything that I've ever learned. I have this like feeling that Way of the Panda Tarot creating this deck, this is sort of like a milestone for everything that I've ever learned so far in this lifetime. And I think a lot of the aspects of the panda archetype are actually aspects of myself that I came to accept and really learn how to navigate. So this is really kind of just a crystallized version of all Kim's positive karmic points. I don't know if that makes sense. And I have this I think for me, creating something, especially the big projects that you embark on, for me, I think creating something like that's very sacred. That's very sacred. It's maybe I just take a little bit too seriously, but you know what I mean? Like it's sacred because it's something that's really meaningful for you. You really want to you really pour your heart into it, your heart and soul and spirit and blood and sweat and tears into it. It's like you're giving birth to this amazing thing that is pure expression of yourself, you being the best of yourself, and also it's the most natural way to inspire others and to kind of allow them to walk into your heart and just see what you saw. So I think the big creative projects in our lives, especially the ones where a lot of people are going to sort of receive, I personally think it's a sacred journey, and I've transformed so much because of this deck. This deck gave me so much, like you have no idea. And yeah, and that's kind of how I feel. I feel like because of that, because I kind of created this deck, because I've sort of made such an effort to really look at my life, really kind of just try to express everything that I have ever sort of felt and experienced through this deck. Like a lot of times, like you wouldn't know, but like if you read the guidebook, like a lot of stories about concepting certain cards, it's actually very up close and personal. For example, the way I concepted a death card, it's because I've seen death up close and personal. It's like, it's because I've experienced it, and that's how that card was born. So this is really, really personal. Like you probably wouldn't feel that way. I'm sure like if you have a copy of this deck, you would sort of just interact with it and see how you personally relate to it, etc. Like we all do with decks and whatever. But this is really a chunk of my soul in deck form. What was my point again? My point was, okay, because I did that, right? Because I sort of just like went through this mythic panda journey and back. Because of this, I was able to say that, you know what? I have like a lot of cool things to say that will help people who are like me, who are introverted, who may struggle with expressing and tapping into their inner child, because oftentimes a lot of times people who don't understand this archetype often judge us to be childish and immature. And that hurts a lot, because for someone who has a really strong inner child archetype or just a personality like that, I think it's just being called immature and childish is it's probably one of the worst things you can say. because it's just like a huge blow of rejection, and it's one of those deep rejections that we carry. And anyway, so I just feel like I have a lot of cool things to say about people who are like me. I mean, not exactly like me, obviously, but people who have the same experiences as me. You know, someone who's introverted in an extroverted society, someone who is uncomfortable in social situations, but but simply because that is the way we are, because we are an introvert, etc. And you have so many things to say. Like one of the things I really want to tell people is like, especially when you're an introvert, um, not appearing to be extrovert or not appearing to be outgoing, not being immediately social, not being immediately able to form sentences when you meet people, or even feeling stressed out around new people. I feel like a lot of times we would interpret that as being unconfident, because when you're confident, you're supposed to be confident around people. That's not true. Confidence has many faces, many aspects, and many layers. And when I say the word confidence, I bet you have a very specific image that comes to your head. And that image may not necessarily be you, you know, because like what you look like when you're confident is really just you feeling comfortable with yourself and feeling peace with yourself and being able to express yourself. Anyway, stuff like that, like stuff like that. Like I want to say that, but sometimes it's like I want to post this on Fables Den. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you appreciate it because like, um, you know, kind of, you know, like because like a lot of us use tarot for spiritual and personal development purposes, and a lot of us use tarot for introspection. So it's not that it would just go unnoticed or whatever, but I just feel like what I have to say has many more people could also hear that, and I kind of just want to put myself out there more in that way to really kind of just take a chance and see if my message resonates with people. Because another reason why I wanted to do a YouTube channel about this is because I feel like a lot of times there's like a lot of general cliche advice out there when it comes to self-love and being confident, right? People usually say like, just be confident, just be yourself, don't compare yourself to others. Self-care, bracket, take a bath. Stuff like that. I just feel like there's a lot of general stuff out there. And you know, having been someone who, you know, like I've been an English tutor for 10 years, and honestly, I'm really grateful for that experience because I had to teach, right? And then tutors, like, it just like I had to make someone understand. I have to break down concepts. I have to creatively sort of present an idea to someone. And yeah, like what I'm trying to say is like I have a lot. I'm really I have I kind of feel like I have a lot of practical tips to give people when it comes to working with yourself, working internally, right? It's like be yourself. What does that mean? How do you be yourself? I mean, it's such a huge topic, right? Even like, you know, like I'm sure like if you're on a spiritual path, if you're constantly working on yourself, you will have opinions about what it means to be yourself, right? You wouldn't just take it at face value. But I kind of feel like a lot of times people don't really know what that means. People don't really understand what it means. And anyway, this is just the kind of like some thoughts about what I want to do and what I want to create through that YouTube channel. Um, yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. And yeah, I think that's it for now. So anyway, I wanted to share this because, you know, if you're like me, if you're thinking, if you're having this sense of dysphoria, if you're having this sense of confusion, like sort of knowing what you want to do, but having a hard time putting everything together, even when it just comes to like, you know, branding. But I think it's more than branding, it's about your purpose, your sense of purpose. Like if you're finding yourself in this position one way or another, maybe we're experiencing the same thing. Maybe maybe what you're creating is meant for multiple channels, right? Maybe what you're creating is meant for you know, different audiences. Maybe you're meant to do two things at once. Maybe the thing that you thought was going to be your main isn't going to be your main anymore. I've always thought Fables Den is going to be my main, but you know, I just thought I was just gonna have this one thing in life. But I realized that I'm going to have two things. You know how the chariot car has a black sphinx and a white sphinx, I think, or usually two polarizing forces or two animals or two forces pulling the chariot. I think that's going to be me. Like, I'm on a chariot and I'm going to be pulled by the way of the panda and then Fables Den. And it just, after I made that decision, everything just became so clear. Fables Den is tarot, tarot, tarot. Deck creation, cute doodles about tarot. And then the way of the panda, I think I'm also gonna have some Instagram page out. Also gonna do some lifestyle doodles about being a vegetarian or being an introvert, lots of panda comics and pet comics and stuff like that. So kind of non-tarot related stuff. Now it has a place to go. And because now it has a place to go, I actually just found that a lot of stuff that I didn't want to do for tarot before, I feel more drawn to it now because I have the space for it. I'm not trying to battle and reconcile with the different things that I want to do for Fables Den or for just in general. So yeah, so that was an interesting experience to have, an interesting observation to have. But there you have it. That's where I am right now when it comes to my business and my online creative adventures and endeavors. I'm super excited about Way of the Panda Tarot. I'm so happy that people loved it. I took some awesome pictures and posted on my Instagram and Facebook just now, and I'm just so glad that people are loving it. This deck is really something special for my heart, for the world, and I want to make another video just kind of riffing off about the deck and stuff, but I'll just end the video here because it's getting too long. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and maybe you can relate, maybe not, let me know. But yeah, have an awesome weekend. It's Saturday right now, but when I post this, it's probably not going to be weekend. But yeah, have an awesome day whenever, wherever you're watching this. And I guess I can't use keep calm and Panda on anymore because I'm gonna use that for the way of Panda. Fables Den, be the hero of your own story. I don't know, like, cause like I think I never nailed like a closing line or taglines because like Fables Den isn't really meant to be on YouTube. I think YouTube is just like a casual thing. So like just never had one. But yeah, Fables Den is like, I think Instagram is sort of like the main face of Instagram, if you know what I mean. Anyway, see you later. I hope you have an amazing day, evening, night, I don't know, morning, and I'll see you in my next video.